Well, those warmer temps means you're probably letting your dog out a little more. And when you do let your dog out in the yard, do you actually pay attention to the plants that they're chewing on? Well, Dr. Pinney is going to show us that toxic plants could actually send your pet to the vet or even worse.
When allergy season hits in South Texas, we're not the only ones who are affected by it. It's hard to believe. Of course, our noses get runny and our chest gets a little compressed, but I'm here to talk to Dr. Pinney because we're talking about animals and how they can be affected by different plants in our backyards. You probably have some in yours. Dr. Pinney, talk to me a little.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Yeah, so one of the big ones I always like to tell owners about, and probably one of the number one, most toxic plants we see is this one back here. It's called a sago palm, and a lot of owners know about it, but a lot don't. And it can be very toxic to dogs. Vomiting, diarrhea, and probably liver failure is the most severe symptom we see, and it can be deadly. And so I always like to, the commonality of this plant, it's in a lot of yards, a lot of houses. It can be fatal. Usually they'll have enough vomiting and diarrhea where most owners will seek out veterinary care. But the sooner, if you notice your dog eating on the leaves or eating the seeds, the sooner you get vet care, the better.
What about this one?
Yeah, so that's a oleander there, and that one, same type of thing. Vomiting and diarrhea, that can be pretty toxic to dogs and cats. That one, if they get enough of it, sometimes their heart can slow down and potentially be fatal if they get enough of it.
That is so crazy to me. And what about this one right here?
So that one's just a basic IV. Some of these in here aren't quite as toxic, normally just vomiting and diarrhea. Depending on the dose, sometimes they can get a little more sick, but for the most part, usually they're just a little GI upset.
I never would have thought of aloe vera as being toxic for dogs or animals too, because they just seem to grow so naturally out here. But what would that plant do if a dog ate it?
Same type of thing, usually vomiting, diarrhea. Sometimes you'll notice them drooling. They may be a little, ataxic, which usually just means an uncoordinated gait. But for the most part, it tends to be pretty mild if they don't eat a ton of it.
Well, as someone who loves plants, this is kind of a bummer. So we're gonna brighten it up a little bit because Robin, you're gonna tell us about plants that are actually good for dogs to eat. So if they get into the bush or anything like that, they're not gonna have a bad time. Absolutely. Tell me what we're looking at.
Okay, so first we've got a pineapple sage. This one is a really good one for animals. It has a real pretty red bloom. So this one is a good one. Also a lot of herbs. The mints, peppermint is, we've got peppermint. That one is also another good one that is not toxic to animals.
And it could probably help freshen breath a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yes.
This is a butterfly bush. Another one, non-toxic, safe for your pets. We've got rosemary here. This one is my absolute favorite to recommend to anyone, and this is called a blue plumbago, and it blooms in sun or shade, is non-toxic to pets, and is a drought-tolerant plant. Texas A&M has put this, listed this as a Texas superstar plant, so it's great for our area. So I highly recommend blue plumbago. We also have it in white.
That is so awesome. And I'm really, really happy to have these options because my dogs can definitely get into plants too. And one last question. So they can stay in their pots if people aren't able to necessarily physically start planting something in their yard, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. All of these guys will go great in pots, and you should not have any worries with your animals.
I love that. If someone wants to learn more about, plants that their pets can eat, or maybe they want to check you guys out, where should they go?
So we always recommend to check the ASPCA's website for the most up-to-date information on toxicity to plants for animals. And then also come check us out. We are happy to help with whatever we can.
I love the sound of that. And Dr. Pinney, if someone wants to come visit you and maybe even see this little guy who was getting into the plants, how can they get in touch?
Yeah, so usually our website, npcvetcare.com, and then we also have a Facebook and Instagram as well.